there's one way that you don't have to suffer, which is in your head. You don't have to do that. And one of the things that I would challenge you all to do is to remember this. You don't have to believe everything you think. Not all of your thoughts are true. And if you can begin to question what you're thinking about, you can kind of change your whole mindset. And if you evaluate what is thinking, thinking is the process of asking and answering questions to yourself. So the key to changing your thinking is to change the questions you ask yourself. And so start to try to take control of that when they begin to get away from you. And I'm asking myself every morning, and it may seem hokey, but it's changing my mindset. What is this trying to teach me today? What's the lesson this is teaching me? You should get something from your pain, right? And if you're gonna have to go through pain, at least you should be growing and changing and evolving. And so every day I'm trying to find the lesson in it. Maybe in the future you should save more money so you're more prepared. Maybe the lesson is how important your family and friends are to you, or your freedom, or your health. But ask yourself a quality question, you'll get a quality answer and you'll change your thinking.
By the time this is done, as a generation of people, either we will have the satisfaction, we rode this crisis well, or we will have the shame of putting our heads down that we did irresponsible thing which cost many precious lives. This is for sure, that either you will hang your head in shame in 12 months' time, or you will walk with a certain sense of resolve and purpose in your life, because as a generation of people, we sailed through this with minimum amount of damage to the humanity. This one thing will definitely be available to you, either this or that. It is my wish and my blessing that we should be able to hold our heads high after 12 months' time.
There's two types of people that are gonna come out of this. There's gonna be the ones that sort of sat around, watched Netflix all day and in their sweatpants, which I did for the first few days. And then there's those of us that decide, I'm training, I'm growing, I'm preparing to be a better version of me when I get out. And one of the ways we do that is by listening to podcasts, maybe like myself, reading things right now, really growing us during this time, because as you said, your identity, it's like a thermostat. I'm in a room right now and the temperature's set on the wall. Your identity is the thoughts, beliefs, and concepts you hold to be true about yourself. This temperature in this room is not based on external temperature outside. It's not the external things in our life that bring us bliss, joy, and abundance. It's our internal identity, and it sets the temperature of our life. So if your identity is 70 degrees of money, 70 degrees of happiness, that's what you're going to get. And if you can alter that thermostat setting, it doesn't matter how cold it is outside or how warm it is outside, that regulates the temperature of your life, and that's through your associations, your collaborations, and the things you read and listen to in your proximity. So if you can change that thermostat setting while you're working right now, while you're waiting to go back out, when you get back out there, you'll have a different level of abundance, bliss, happiness, relationships, all of it. Alter that thermostat setting through what you're reading, listening to, and who you're hanging around, talking to also right now. Why is that so important? Because if you're in quarantine right now, what are you associating with? Your own thoughts, which don't serve you, maybe some of the negative thoughts of some of your friends, and then what you're watching on television. These are your main associations, right? No wonder we're down. No wonder our identity's not growing. So you have to almost forcefully change what you're listening to, reading, and watching. I'm not saying don't watch the news, you should stay informed. But you don't need to watch it 6 to 8 hours a day. Start listening and watching things that serve you, that grow you. Absolutely right.
In these times of fear, don't let people take control of your mind, my friends. I mean, every day you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. My friend and teacher Jim Rohn used to say, if your worst enemy drops sugar in your coffee, what happens? And I'd say, nothing. You got sweet coffee. And then he used to say, what if your best friend, what if your lover, what if your mom, your dad, what if your dearest, closest family member drops one drop of strychnine in your coffee by accident? So what happens? I said, but you dead. And he goes, well, listen. He said, life is both sugar and strychnine, so watch your coffee. In other words, watch your mind. Be a leader. Most people let their fear take control of them. And this whole coronavirus thing, I thank God in Australia it's not out of control in the mindset like it is in the mindset of other parts of the world. But 600,000 people die a year of the flu all around the world. 600,000 every year, 600 to 650,000. So any death is painful. Any death is not something you want. But if you're taking care of yourself and you're healthy, all the experts say there's nothing to worry about. People get the virus and don't even know that they have it. They don't have any symptoms. 99.7% of anybody under the age of 50 often doesn't know they have it, or they have very few symptoms and they certainly don't die. And so in the place of fear, I'd educate yourself. And so one of the things we're committed to doing, we've been working with a lot of medical doctors from Harvard and from around the world who are worried that we're scaring the hell out of people. And, I know that fear suppresses the immune system. So there's no good in that. So please be the leader and don't let people overcome you with fear. If you go on the web, you'll get overwhelmed. If you just watch the news, you need to remember the news is great. They're not bad people, but the news is a business and its number one job is not to inform you. It's to startle you. If they inform you, you don't pay attention. There's too much competition. But if they startle you, you click on the link or you watch the TV set. And so educate yourself. Don't let yourself react. Don't let yourself live in fear. Fear's not going to help you make the right decision.
Worrying does not take away tomorrow's problems. It takes away today's peace. And I can tell you that one of the things I do, we all have patterns. And one of my patterns is I'm a worrier. I tend to worry just like many of you do. So I'm intentional. When you have an awareness of something, it loses its power and impact over you. So when I begin to worry, I am aware of it and I go, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. It almost becomes like a comedy routine for me because I realize this pattern that I'm in. So I do what I call a pattern interrupt, which is awareness of this dumb thought, projecting into the future, things that probably won't happen, that don't serve me. And I always focus on getting present. What can I do right now to bring myself peace, to bring myself joy, to bring myself strength? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to reach out to? How do I need to move my body differently? Oftentimes, if you're moving your body, even if it's jumping jacks or a walk or anything you do, you can't simultaneously be in a peak state physically and be in a negative state emotionally. And so I'm always checking my physiology and moving my body. It's one way to shift right out of worry and into something more productive. I have this philosophy because I used to have, I had a hard time staying disciplined in my days like so many people do, my mind and my actions. And so I have this philosophy that if I can control the first 30 minutes of my day and the last 30 minutes of my day, the probability at least of having some measure of control over the rest of it is increased. And so the first 30 minutes of every day, I get up and have a very routine process I go through. But one of the processes, both in the beginning of the day and the end, is I ask myself a series of questions. What am I most grateful for in my life right now? Because the quality of the question changes the quality of your life and your thinking. What am I most grateful for? Who am I most grateful for? Who loves me? Who do I love? What am I most proud of right now? What am I most looking forward to in my life? And I do that at the beginning of my day. At the end of my day, what did I accomplish today? What did I learn today? What am I grateful for? Who do I love? Who loves me? And those questions, they may seem hokey, but I've been doing them for 25 years almost now, and they control what I see in my life because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And this is the part of your brain that kind of filters out anything that's not important to you and filters in what is important to you. It's almost like the Matrix. So for example, we've all experienced this. If you ever bought a new car, like a blue Lexus or a blue Honda, all of a sudden you see blue Hondas everywhere, don't you? They're in the parking lot. They're 3 lanes over on the other side of the road. All of a sudden you see them everywhere. Why? They were always there, but now they're filtered into your awareness and you see them everywhere. We all know what that's like. But what if the blue Hondas of your life were what you're grateful for, what you're proud of, what you're excited about, what you're achieving? And by asking these questions, they become important to your reticular activating system. And believe it or not, you begin to see, feel, and hear things that were always there that you had missed before, just like that blue Honda. It's a powerful thing we do with our minds.
All of us are struggling with, you can't control this. And there's this feeling of helplessness. And for many people, I understand their suffering. They're worried about food and work, and I completely get that. However, you can't simultaneously feel helpless when you're being helpful. They don't coexist. And so if you're really struggling with a bout of helplessness, decide you're going to be helpful. Reach out to somebody. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them if you can help them. Tell them you love them and care about them. You'd be surprised at how that shifts your state. And remember this, everybody. We were all born to do something great with our life. All of us, in big ways and small ways. And in moments like this, it's easy to forget that. And some of the smallest things you will ever do in your life are actually the greatest. And there is somebody right now that if you reached out and just said, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, I love you, I know we haven't talked in a while, that may be one of the greatest gestures that arrives at the perfect time for somebody in their life that you've ever done. And that is incredibly helpful, which means you are not helpless when you can help another person. Remember, who it was that reached out during these times when it really mattered. And I think friendships and the love for one another is really going to grow. We're seeing the best of humanity right now. Overall, the country has rallied. It doesn't matter if you're in a blue state or a red state. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a rich person or a poor person. We're all trying to pull together right now. It reminds me to some extent, just a little bit like right after 9/11, when we were together as a country. I just hope this time that it's a longer lasting impact because of the questions we're asking ourselves, because of the breakthroughs that we're all going to have.